Welcome to Feisty Chess. I wanted to show you a game I played just earlier today, and my sons, who are in middle school, were helping me a little bit. Um, so I was black, and well, at a key moment, one of my sons uh, told me there was a good move I could play, and I had looked at it already, but it turns out it was better than I thought. So thank you to Neil for that. Here's the game: e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6. So we're going into normal open game territory. White chose the Scotch opening, d4, and you always want to take this as black. Don't let him keep that big pawn center. And usually black will take back, but pretty often, and that's the Scotch game proper, take with the knight. But pretty often, white will play the Scotch Gambit, and this is a gambit that comes up a lot if you play e5, probably more even than the Danish Gambit or the King's Gambit or the Goring Gambit. I would say this gambit comes up maybe as often as any gambit you're going to meet against if you play e5 against e4. So knowing how to meet it is key. There's a few ways to do it, but I like the approach of the two knights with knight f6. And usually white will castle here, although he has other options. He can play e5. But e5 is met by d5, and black's doing great there. But if he castles, you just have to fearlessly follow through on your threat. Knight takes e4. That's why I played knight f6. So usually there will be a pin. Almost always white will play this pin. And you play the most natural move here, d5. And white will probably play a move that might surprise you, which is bishop takes d5. Otherwise, we're going to play bishop e7 and keep, at least one of our big pawns and our center. So he takes here with the understanding that he's going to get the piece back. He's got one of his pawns back now, but he's down a piece. And here's a move where you want to pause the video if you don't know this position. Here's a great move for white. White takes advantage of some tactics here to win that piece back. So if you didn't find the move, or if you did, it's knight to c3. So the knight's pinned and can't take, and the pawn is pinned and can't take either, because the queen will be lost. So the queen has to move instead, and there's no point in defending the knight with the queen anymore. And actually, you wouldn't want to say play queen e6, because then rook will take, and then you're losing your queen. So the queen just slides out of the way. She can go to h5, but I take her to a5 over here. And now white will usually take with the knight. And then the idea of this, you're okay giving back another pawn, right? We're just up one pawn here, but you want to get your pieces out and block all the threats that white has. And right now, white's got this big, nasty discovery lined up. So you play bishop not to e7 because you want to castle queenside. You want to get that rook on the d file. So you go bishop to e6. Okay, and now white usually plays, and he did in this game, knight e to g5, and now we just say, okay, take that pawn back. We're going to castle, and white takes, and you take back, and then white will take with his rook. And now black's got the move, and the rook is a little bit out of position, and I like black better than white here. He's got more share in the center, and his development is equal, but I've got a good position with my rook against the white queen. I might play d3 at some point. Anyway, the move I play here, I like to play it. You can get the bishop out a variety of ways, but I like to play h6, taking away this. And after all, this is a opposite sides castled situation. So we got to get that steamroller running here and getting those pawns up to launch the pawn storm at the opponent's king before he does the same to us over here. So we get the first step in that race. Now white plays queen e2, just connecting his pieces, doubling up on the e file, protecting that rook. I continue with g5. Now I might bring the bishop here, and I might push this, right? And he anticipates that, and he plays knight to d4. And here's the spot where I looked at a few moves, and I looked at one move that I thought, okay, that may be good, but I'm going to look at other moves now. And my son said, hey, Dad, look at this move. And it turns out that black has a winning move here. See if you can find it. Okay, if you pause the video, now is the time. The move that my son helped me to find and that I played was d3. So it's a forcing move. We're hitting the queen. We're hitting that pawn. More importantly, we're hitting the queen. And one thing you have to calculate right out of the bat is, what about his captures? What about knight takes? Because that not only takes a knight, but it hits our queen. Well, it turns out here you can just take queen because black can't afford to take the queen because it's going to get mated. There's a lot of themes of back rank mates in the tactics in this position. So what if he just takes the thing with his pawn? Well, the point here is this was a clearance sacrifice. Now we have d4 to play with, and we can play knight to d4, forking both of these pieces, right? So that's why this rook is a little bit iffy on e6. There's tactics here to watch out for. So if black tries to protect the rook, and this seems to be the only way you can try that, well, we could just play here, and then there's no more squares you can go to protect the rook. And he doesn't have a double check possibility, so we're going to take the queen if he moves the rook and says check. He can't come here because of the knight, and if he comes back here, well, we just hit the queen, and then we're grabbing that rook next turn. But hold on, I missed something. Even better, we have a one knight, right? So there's the back rank theme again. So the queen has to stay on this diagonal, she has to guard e1. And if she comes up here, well, anything else, we'll just feast on that rook, right? She can't guard both the rook and e1 at the same time. So the pawn taking is no good. What if she moves out of the way immediately? She could come here, perhaps? Well, at the very least, we have this. And now we're threatening this back rank mate. The bishop can't come out because we'll just take it. And yeah, it's looking like a lot of trouble for white here. We are up material, and I don't know. There might be something better here. D takes c2 is +9 for white, +9 for black. G4 just to get rid of the mate threat, and then like this. King G2, Queen D5 check is going to pick up that rook. Ooh, so what if instead, like H3, and then we go for knight takes E5, and if rook takes, rook D1 check. Ooh, and then we're going to pin with the bishop. Oof. That would also be true if queen takes. Okay, so that's all losing for black. For white, sorry. So the best move is take with knight. Now this looks very good. It looks like it solves all white's problems. He's protecting the rook. He's got e1 protected twice and d1 protected once. And everything seems hunky-dory, but we still have this fork. It doesn't solve that problem. But, and now, same thing. Remember, you can't try this here because of that. I'm sorry. No, this also doesn't work because, well, knight takes e6 is good enough. This is probably also winning. Well, hold on. Knight takes e6 is the best. Anyway, I didn't extensively analyze this, but instead white tried to trade queens. We did look at this line, and this is similar to in the game. We would just trade queens. Anyway, he played queen e5, and then queen takes e5. Knight can't take because then his rook is still loose, so he's got to move the rook to take. But now knight c2 gives him too many problems, right? His knight is loose, and the rook is loose. So he finds the best move, which is bishop takes g5, and the point of this is, I mean, I could try this, but he's got some tactics here with involving a skewer, and I'm still better. But he might, be getting away with more than I'd like here. He's got a couple of strong pawns on the king side. I'm winning, but I'd rather find a more fun way to win here. So after takes, I just take the bishop, and he's got to deal with this rook. He brings the rook to d1. So he saves the rook and the knight, but the bishop is gone. Now I go bishop d6 because I'm wanting to target this square. And he can't take this. This is a nice little trap. He can't take this because after this check, can't go to h1 because then I discover check here and he loses a rook. So he goes to f1. And this didn't happen in the game, but now I've got this, and I'm threatening a really cool mate. So if he just moves the rook someplace like here, well, this is a nifty checkmate. The bishop covers these dark squares, the knight covers these light squares, and these are all the rooks. So I like that one. I enjoyed being able to see that. I was happy I saw it, but my opponent must have seen it too because he didn't take the pawn. He went to e2, and I came to d4. And so I'm a piece up already, so we can speed through some of this. And now I took on h2. He went to f1, and I came here to f4. He can't take because I'm threatening mate, thanks to my knight covering this escape square. So we got a back rank mate thing going on. But he can bring his rook over. And there's a lot of ways to win here. I went for g4, encouraging the rook trade. After this, he seems to be in some trouble. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just up a piece here, but he took the bishop and got a pawn for the exchange. But at this point, he resigned because I'm up a whole rook. So anyway, it's not that my kids are any better than me at chess. I want to say that this wasn't like a case of cheating. My kids aren't whiz kids at chess by any means. They like to play, and they're pretty good. And I'm proud of them. I'm particularly proud of Neil for finding this nice move. And it's a move that I looked at and kind of rejected because it just got too complicated. But Neil reminded me the importance of staying feisty here and going for this active play. And the knight d5. Knight e5 was a big mistake because I have this clearance sacrifice. Now, Neil didn't know what a clearance sacrifice is or what that means, but actually one interesting idea to look at here is queen d2. We still got d takes c2, and now we're hitting the queen. Our queen is protected, but that's not the point. She's protected more by the mate than by the knight. So anyway, thanks for watching this, and thanks to ZB581 for the good game and the nice learning opportunity, and thanks to my sons for helping me out. Stay feisty, folks.